Welcome back. Well, today I'm joined by Jared Mathis, who is here on behalf of the brand new Moulton Museum. Well, welcome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for having me.
What a great story. I mean, when I heard about this, we're like, oh, we have got to talk to you guys because it's quite a journey that you have been on with your family. So before we get into all of that, though, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a California native. I'm the great-grandson of Lewis and Nellie Gail Moulton, which has brought me into contact with all of these things. I live in Laguna Hills here locally in Orange County, and proud father of 3 daughters that are soccer players and piano players. And
well, you've got your hands busy, and yet you still were able to pull this together.
Yeah, I have a real job too as CEO of Moulton Company, but somehow we got it done because it was that important.
Well, tell me a little bit about the history. So it was a family member that had passed away, and how did it all transform?
Right. So Moulton Ranch is really the palette that we're working with. That was where we are now. That was basically Irvine to San Juan Capistrano, widest at the I-5 border, and kind of went down Laguna Canyon to the water. That was the old family ranch, and our great aunt was the last one to leave. Laguna Woods was the first part of the ranch that was sold and developed. Okay. The last piece was Aliso Viejo. That's what she had domain over. And so she was the last to leave, and she recreated a Moulton Ranch type property north of Santa Barbara in Lompoc, about 14,000 acres.
No kidding. Okay.
So she took all the stuff with her. She was the last one to leave.
Okay.
And as she neared her 99th year, she passed in 2014, we realized, boy, we had a lot of interesting things that had been sitting perfectly preserved for a very long time, and we needed to bring it back home to Orange County.
Right. So she brought it to Lompoc. But it wasn't a museum up there, was it?
No, she actually bought a house that was going to be a golf clubhouse. The golf course never happened. And so it had a big great room, and so she brought all these artifacts and things back with her, and so she had buggies and kind of her own private museum. Mm-hmm. Fortunately for us, she really didn't like company all that much, so it kind of sat perfectly preserved. And unfortunately, her husband, who developed Rancho Palos Verdes, he was more of a developer than a rancher or farmer. He rolled a tractor on himself, and so not long after they moved there, so time kind of stopped for her, but it led to this collection being held together.
That is awesome that you were able to get it and bring it down. So what was the process? So you transported all the artifacts, but you had to find a space.
Right, that's right. We had it just in storage while we tried to figure that out. We never intended to open a museum. It wasn't the original part of the plan. But as we uncovered more and more and more things, we realized it was just too overwhelming to keep it to ourselves, and we had to open it up. And so we've opened the museum. We opened on Labor Day weekend of this year, and it's on old ranch property we've had since 1895. Just off Cabot and La Paz in Laguna Hills.
Oh, okay.
And while we didn't think that we would ever be opening a museum, I think especially the women in our family knew that it was important, the time that they were living in, because they kept everything. So from Nellie Gail to her daughter Charlotte, who was my grandmother, to Louise, who was her sister, they kept everything intact in a way that would preserve it, even in a rudimentary way, and we've been able to build off of that.
That is awesome. Now, when you go into the museum, I do notice just from the video that we have that you have some containers that have different types of artifacts in it. Yeah. What is someone going to see when they go to the museum?
Well, the intent of the design is one to take you back in time a little bit, but also overwhelm your senses, right? I just gave a personal tour to a group the other day, and it took about 2 hours. Now, we're not talking about a really huge space. We've got 5,000 square feet. Half of that is really exhibition space. Another third is event space. But you could probably get through the museum if you were just taking the high notes in 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
But you're going to see real life artifacts from 1875 or 1874. And you're also going to see a movie that we produced that tells the story of Lewis and his journey from Boston around through the Isthmus of Panama, where he landed in Orange County in 1874 on a stagecoach. So that movie's in 4 parts, and it's about a 12-minute investment, but it's really amazing. So you'll see everything from old telegrams to the old Orange County families amongst each other. You'll see artifacts from the gold rush that Wells Fargo gave to us. You'll see old rifles and things like that. So it really does take you back.
That is just awesome. And we don't really have a lot of that here. I mean,
certainly in South Orange County, there's not as much.
Yeah. And something we were talking about just, sort of off camera is that when you see all of those artifacts and you see all the struggles that they had, I mean, we should be pretty thankful where we are right now.
Well, one of the themes of our museum is the pioneer spirit, because it can't just be about our family. We really think that there's a larger spirit that people that came out to Orange County and really built it all shared. And so I think that really shines through in the different pieces of the exhibition about what it took to actually take that leap and to take something from nothing and build it. And that's really where I think people will draw inspiration and take something that maybe they'll be able to apply to their own lives as well.
Now, speaking of that, what if somebody had something they thought of value to bring to the museum for it to be displayed there?
Right.
What happens with that?
Just reach out to us, moultonmuseum.org, or just bring it by. We hope that our biggest problem is storage. And it's already happened. We've had people bringing over different types of artifacts or pictures or stories, paintings, that sort of thing. It's already begun, and there's just been some really emotional moments of people reconnecting with their family through a number of the pictures that we have on the wall. Wow. So yeah, I could tell a lot of those stories, but it's really something to behold.
So you do tours, and would someone just reach out to you guys for something like that if they want to have a group?
Right now, what we really need is volunteers for the docents to be able to be trained and create more open hours. Right now, on Tuesdays, we're completely open and free to the public from 11 to 3. Okay. And then from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's all appointment-based. But basically, reach out to us through the website, and whatever time is convenient, we'll be available to do that. We're moving our corporate offices right next to the museum, so we'll be there more as well. Okay. So those types of opportunities will be abundant.
Are you a 501c3?
Yes.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yes. And we've gotten very generous support. In fact, we just got an anonymous donor that is going to provide a challenge grant for us to encourage other people to give. So we're looking forward to more of that.
Excellent. Well, I know, we have an awful lot of people here who have probably relatives and things like that who are from the local area. We have many people who haven't moved very far, like 2 miles down the road, right? And so they can identify with this. Well, yeah, we hope so. We hope that that's an appetite that we'll be able to make possible for everybody to come down and satisfy that urge to really reconnect with their past. A lot of these cities have grown up since the 90s that surround us. And I think there is a real appetite to be able to understand what was here before. And to the extent that we can help provide and fill that gap, we'll do that. And it's been a real joy so far. Well, that is awesome. Well, thank you for the information. And thank you for doing all that hard work to bring us something really wonderful. My pleasure. We hope to see you there. Thank you. If you want more information about the Moulton Museum, or you would like to volunteer as a docent, you can contact them at moultonmuseum.org or the phone number on your screen. We'll be right back.